Hi, this is Dee at Aloha Astro. We're looking at a new moon in the fixed Earth sign of Taurus on April 27th, 2025. It occurs at 3:31 p.m. Eastern Time at 7 degrees 47 minutes of Taurus. So let's take a look at the forecast for this lunation. New moon in Taurus, Sunday, April 27th, triggers resistant and rebellious feelings in response to lack, limitations, and anything or anyone exerting control or imposing their will over you, as the moon forms a fixed T-square aspect pattern with Mars in Leo and Pluto in Aquarius. Taurus is a sensual and security-minded fixed Earth sign ruled by Venus, a planet of pleasure, beauty, and comfort, and associated with the second house of personal finances and values, self-worth, and self-esteem. So the T-square containing the opposition of Mars and Pluto, both squaring the Sun and the Moon conjunct in Taurus, will exaggerate any issues you have over money, security, attention, and appreciation. It will be challenging to not kick up a fuss and sound off. Taurus rules the throat and voice because of Mars in courageous and dramatic Leo and intense Pluto in activist Aquarius, pressuring you to express the displeasure you feel. You are willing to fight or take action based on the courage of your convictions and guiding spiritual beliefs as Mars forms trine aspects to the North Node, Saturn, and Venus, all in Pisces, conjunct Neptune in Aries and Mercury in Aries, which in turn create a minor grand trine with Uranus in Taurus and Pluto. Jupiter in Gemini square to the Pisces Aries planets, but sextile to Chiron in Aries, plus Pluto square to Chiron, indicate it may not be safe or in your best interests to play both sides, choose no side at all, be in denial of your truth, or ignore your values. Although this new moon could shake up several areas of your life, including relationships, it will reveal the weak points in need of greater creativity, courage, trust, loyalty, and truth as you voice concerns or examine what needs to change for growth and harmony to occur. The extremes of too much, not enough, with me, against me, might seem inflexible now, but they are assisting you in forming new plans, establishing healthier boundaries, strengthening your self-esteem, or increasing security or funds. You may bend or modify at a later date, but now is not the time. So here we've got that T-square, that red triangle you see. We also have Pluto squaring Chiron. Here's the square between Jupiter in Gemini and the lineup of the North Node, Saturn, Venus in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Aries. Mercury's a little further along now. It's pulling away from this cluster. We've got Mercury making a trine to Mars, which is where we get that courage of convictions and the faith to follow through and believe in yourself, because we've got Mars interacting both with Mercury in Aries as well as the Pisces planets. And then we've got that minor grand trine here. Uranus is very well aspected right now. There are no challenging aspects. Basically, time for change. And if you initiate any changes or look to do things in a different way, as well as align with your personal values or truth, you are going to find that things actually shift in your favor, that you begin to utilize the power of Pluto and the faith and self-awareness, personal conviction of Pisces and Aries energy to create a better future. We do have that nice sextile between Jupiter and Gemini and Chiron in Aries. You have to make a decision. You have to decide what is the best option for you. And that T-square is going to present things in that extreme light, that there may not be a good middle ground right now. And I don't think that it's really supposed to be happening that way. I think that this new moon, with the pressure of the T-square, is making you look at what is most important, what are your values, uh, making you choose a side and put down a boundary, and then get busy in taking some sort of action that's going to result in the positive changes and the transformation, empowerment, self-empowerment. And definitely, if you feel that you have no control in your life, you may have to self-examine and determine, is it because that's what you're creating or have been creating? Have you been claiming your own power? Are you doing things that demonstrate that you have control over things? Or have you been taking path of least resistance and or not taking any path at all? And then you can utilize that T-square to get active in claiming that power and regaining control and looking at what you want to be creating in your life and your future. Let's take a look at Sabian symbol. I read through it and it didn't like ring any bells for me, but I feel like it's almost like looking at worst case scenario. That's what came to my mind when I read through it. A sleigh on land uncovered by snow. Keynote: the value of anticipating and preparing for expectable conditions. Here we have a combination of two factors. The sleigh, which is a product of traditional skill, Taurus 6-degree symbol. This refers back to two different symbols, by the way, that come before the 8th. And the ability man has to foresee and thus to prepare for a future situation. This ability relates this symbol to the one for Taurus 7, because the woman from Samaria had the capacity to receive a revelation of the future state of human evolution, though in a different and subconscious sense. Man should be ready to use past knowledge and skill to meet the demands of a stage yet to come. At this third stage of the 8th fivefold sequence, we should realize the value of future-oriented imagination, but also of relying upon the natural order of unfoldment of all life processes. Well, it looks as if you have to anticipate that it may snow in the winter. Basically, like if things have been coming in a regular cycle and certain actions produce certain results or certain ways of thinking produce certain results, then you can prepare and anticipate that something is going to repeat. But we do have the potential for breaking of patterns going on right now. And on the one hand, yes, you can say, all right, maybe this is going to go on the same old way. But on the other hand, you are at that point of taking control and creating something different that can break a pattern and reset things so that maybe you won't need the sleigh because it's not going to snow, basically. I think it's wise, especially while the new moon is occurring in Taurus, that you do consider what generally does occur. Taurus is a sign that is very connected to nature and the sensual world. How does something look, taste, sound, smell, feel? It can be quite instinctual. And whenever I want to know what's going on, let's say in a office situation, anywhere there's a group of people, if something needs to be done, I look toward the earth signs, particularly Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. They tend to know where things are. They tend to be the ones who show up and are reliable and problem solving and fix things. I find that Taurus is usually the first one in the door and the last one to leave, and they know where the medicine kit is. They know when there's not enough coffee in the break room and it's time to get more coffee. They're very concerned with everybody's comfort, safety, security, and knowing where the resources are. So that Taurus resourcefulness is what we can all experience at this new moon. But there's an open door for going into a different pattern, a different way of being. But we still have to look at the reality, especially when it comes down to anything we share with other people, because Taurus may be about the second house of personal finances, but it opposes Scorpio and the eighth house, which is about the merging of boundaries and the sharing of assets. So it's there, although unspoken, opposing signs will always carry some of the energy at the other side of the chart wheel. And Pluto rules Scorpio, and its interaction in this T-square brings in a lot of the Scorpio overtones and eighth house concerns. You also have to look at your natal chart today and take a look at the signs where Pluto and the sun and the moon and Mars are sitting, what houses or areas of life are being activated right now by that T-square, and that is likely to be where you're feeling the most pressure and you're attempting to make those three areas of life get along well with each other. And you may have to look at doing things in a different way, or if there are things, as I said, that you've been in denial of and you've been trying to remain in a neutral gray zone or not to be part of it at all, now you may have to be in order to move forward. That the moment is here now to look at it, to deal with it, to figure out what's most important to you, what are your values in it, and what are you going to do about it moving forward. That's it. Stay safe and keep in mind that people's emotions are heightened at new moons and full moons. This one in particular, you get some of the radical energy of Aquarius and some of the ego, childlike energy of Leo coming out. So it may look a bit messy or get a bit noisy, and some acting out might seem very out of character. Just know that it may be a release, it may be cathartic, and it may be a necessary part of getting into the work of bringing back the harmony and pointing things in a good direction. And we have the ability to do that with that minor grand trine, this trine aspect, and this sextile aspect. I'll be back again tomorrow with the daily forecast for Monday. Have a great rest of your weekend.